You spent the first few years of your life learning the single most important skills you would ever acquire. You learned to walk, you learned to talk, you learned who your parents were, what love felt like, how the entire world works. It was, by a wide margin, the most intense period of learning in your whole existence, and you remember none of it, not one moment. Try as hard as you like, you cannot recall a single memory from before you were about 3 years old, and most people can't recall much before 5 or 6. An entire chapter of your life, the most formative one, has simply been erased. The question is not just why, the question is far stranger than that. Those years happened to someone. A conscious little person experienced them. So where did that person go, and why did they take all the memories with them? Scientists have a name for this universal blank spot. They call it infantile amnesia, and for a long time the obvious explanation seemed good enough. Babies, people assumed, simply don't form memories. Their brains are too undeveloped. There's nothing to remember because nothing was ever recorded. Clean, simple, and, as it turns out, completely wrong. Because babies absolutely do form memories. We know this for certain now. Infants can remember things for days and even weeks. They recognize faces, they learn routines, they clearly retain information. That's how they learn anything at all. A 1-year-old who's learned that a certain sound means food is remembering, so the memories were being made. Which deepens the mystery enormously. The recordings existed, and then at some point they were lost. This isn't a story about a camera that was never switched on. It's a story about footage that was filmed and then somehow deleted. So what's actually going on? Researchers now believe several things are happening at once, and they're genuinely fascinating. The first has to do with the physical construction of your brain. In your first years of life, your brain is building neurons and connections at a staggering, explosive rate. It's an incredible thing to witness, but it comes at a cost. This furious growth may actively disrupt and overwrite existing memories. New circuits are being laid down so fast that they plow through the old ones. In a strange way, the very process that makes early childhood such a powerful learning machine is the same process that shreds the memories as they form. Your infant brain was building itself so quickly that it couldn't hold still long enough to keep a permanent record. But there's a second reason, and it might be the most profound. To store a memory the way adults do, the kind you can consciously travel back to and re-experience, you need certain mental tools, and the most important of those tools is language. Think about how your memories actually work. They're stories, they have words, narration, a sense of this happened, then that happened, and it meant something. Your memories are structured like sentences because you build them out of language. But before you could speak, you had no words to encode your experiences with. A pre-verbal baby experiences the world in raw sensation, color, warmth, fear, comfort, with no narrative structure to file it under. And a memory with no words is almost impossible for an adult mind to retrieve because the adult mind goes looking for it using language and finds nothing it recognizes. The memories may still be in there in some form. You've just lost the key that could open them because the key was made of words you didn't have yet. And this connects to something even deeper, your sense of self. To remember an event as something that happened to you, you first need a stable concept of you. You need to understand that you are a continuous person who existed yesterday and will exist tomorrow, a single thread running through time. This sense of an autobiographical self doesn't fully come online until around age 2 or later. Before that, there may not have been a solid enough you for the memories to attach to. The experiences happened, but there was no fully formed narrator to write them down as my experiences. So let's return to the haunting question we started with. That little person who learned to walk and talk and love, the one who lived those vivid, overwhelming first years, where did they go? The unsettling answer is that in a very real sense they were overwritten. The person you are now was built directly on top of them, using their learning as the foundation, but discarding their memories in the process. You carry everything that baby learned, every skill, every deep pattern about trust and language and how to be a human, and yet you cannot access a single frame of their actual life. They gave you everything and left no trace of themselves. You are quite literally standing on the erased life of an earlier version of you. And here's the thought that lingers. Those first years shaped you more than any years since. The way you attach to people, your deepest instincts about whether the world is safe, the very architecture of your personality, much of it was poured into place during exactly the window you can't remember. Which means the most important influences on who you are today are locked in a room you will never be allowed to enter. You are the sum of experiences you'll never recall, authored by a child you'll never meet, who happened to be you. If you're fascinated by the idea that your memories aren't the reliable recordings you think they are, wait until you learn how easily scientists can plant completely false memories into a person's mind, memories of things that never happened at all. That's the next video. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and thanks for watching.